Hey guys, my name is Ava Ross and I'm here today with interviewing the prosecuting attorney of Hamilton County, Miss Melissa Powers. Miss Melissa, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you. Are you ready to get into it?
Oh yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So my first question is to you, what does it entail to be an elected official for the prosecuting attorney job?
Well, I am responsible and report to the voters of our community. This is an elected position that you run for and campaign and run for election. So I will be up for election in 2024 and be on the ballot for that race.
Can you describe an average workday?
My work days never end.
Right.
They start early, and it's basically, as the prosecuting attorney for Hamilton County, a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week type job. So I am constantly either getting emails, texts, phone calls, but my day-to-day, I usually start in the office about 8:30 in the morning, and then I don't really know when my day will end.
Right.
I have things in the evening. That typically when I'm out of the office may be involving, I speak at community events, I go to schools, I educate people, I attend many meetings, I go out in the community and work with some of our other community agencies and partners because there might be some issue that's pressing or they want to discuss something with me that they may need some assistance with.
Okay. So when you're working to institute a change in our community, do you work with any other elected officials?
This job is a lot of partnerships and collaborations with others. This is a job that is involving law enforcement, obviously. With the prosecuting attorney's office, we have a civil division where we represent all the public officials in Hamilton County. So we are their lawyers in the event there's a problem in which their legal action is taken against them or they want to bring legal action. The other piece of the office is the criminal side. So on the criminal side, obviously, we're heavily involved with all the different law enforcement agencies throughout Hamilton County. We work with the coroner's office particularly on many cases, homicide cases, any kind of case that has forensic evidence on. Those are our two big people that we work with in the community. But I have an elder justice unit, for example, so I'm working with all the different senior agencies such as Pro Seniors, Council on Aging, for example. It could be legal aid that we're working with on cases. So there's a lot of we work directly with the public defenders. They may be an adversary of ours on the case, but we work with them. We work with the judges because there's usually a partnership. We all have a same common goal, which is to make sure that we're following the law and administer the law in a fair and just manner. So there's many, many different partnerships that we have involvement with.
Interesting.
And elected officials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know because I interviewed Dr. Mannix a few months ago for my Gold Award, the coroner, and I'm trying to get Mrs. I think her name's McGuffey, the sheriff of Hamilton County.
She's Sheriff McGuffey. That's her title.
McGuffey. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to do.
So we work with them. Obviously, she runs the jail. Mm-hmm. She also has her deputies, so we definitely are working constantly with them on whatever the issues may be that arise out of the jail.
Cool. So when you were in school, were you aware of this career in particular?
What part of school?
I meant like college.
College? Well, when I was in college, my goal when I started college was to go to live in New York. I wanted to move there and I wanted to be a fashion designer. So the legal field was never really in my sights or aspirations. And it was just through a course of events that led me to go to law school. Once I was in law school, everybody knows that there's a prosecutor. But again, this was never really a particular career aspiration of mine. When I was in law school, I had an internship, and even at that point, for 3 years, I was telling everyone that when I graduated, I was not I didn't know what I wanted to practice as far as a legal profession. but I knew it was not going to be criminal law, and that's exactly where I've spent 32 years of my life and career has been in criminal law.
That's pretty funny. Do
So
you
the
like it?
irony of it, and how I fell into it. My first day in the courtroom, I was never in a courtroom. I never had, before I was in, even while I was in law school, I was never in courtroom until I took an internship. And that was my last semester of my law school, my third year of law school. And I walked in, and even then I was kicking and screaming. I didn't want to go to the courtroom, and when I did, I fell in love with it. It was exciting. You were making a difference in the community, and I just had a true passion. It just really felt like this was where I should be, and so I changed my entire perspective. And after I graduated and took the bar, I started in the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office, so my first job was here.
So what did you major in? Did you go to fashion school?
I was in art school
Art
up
school?
at UC, Design, Art, and Architecture at UC. It's now called DAAP. Back then it was just DAA. That's how old I am. This goes back pretty far. So yeah, I wanted to paint. I still paint. It's just a hobby.
I mean,
It's
you
not
look
a profession.
fabulous. I can tell you could have been a
thank you.
fashion designer.
Thank you.
So you did internships. What kind of internship did you do? Did you like work under the prosecuting attorney?
So my internship that I did when I was in law school was with the City of Cincinnati Prosecutor's Office, and they only handle misdemeanors. This
Yeah.
office handles juvenile misdemeanors, felonies, appellate. So I was there, and they, when I graduated, did not have an opening, but this office did, and that's how I came here. So again, it was just the way life and the opportunities presented themselves, how I found myself here, and set me on a course that now I'm the boss of the office that I started with right out of law school. But the internship was quite exciting. I followed attorneys, assistant prosecutors, and went in the courtroom, and I just admired how they handled themselves and how professional it was. The challenges that they faced were exciting to me. The difference that they were making in others' lives, helping others, is something that I've always had in my heart, and so I absolutely love helping others, and this is a great way to help other people, whether it's victims of crime or just the community itself. There's great responsibility to make sure that people are safe and that our community is safe, and it's doing the right thing at all times, making good decisions, having a lot of compassion when it's necessary, but also being able to understand those that need you need to be more firm with, and that needs so that you can protect the community.
So what was the election process like for you? Did you have to campaign super hard?
Well, for this job, I was appointed. I received almost a unanimous vote. I was one short of a unanimous vote by the Central Committee. There was a vacancy, so I stepped in at the vacancy and had to be screened, and then there was a vote, and I went in. So it's not been for this position a vote at large, but I've been in 4 different elections as a judge. And so the campaign process is that you get out and you speak, and you got to introduce yourself and make sure that you're out in the community for people to know who you are. Also, a piece of the campaign, which is what nobody enjoys, is asking and raising money.
Right.
So that's never the fun part at all. It's hard to ask others for money, but you need help from others because they're expensive to be able to either have ads or run TV or radio. Social media posts now cost money if you go beyond just your normal page.
Right. Is your role nonpartisan?
It's not nonpartisan. However, what I think when you're dealing with public safety, politics should not come in and be involved.
So what's like one thing over the entire course of your career that you've done that you're most proud of?
But I've had the great fortune of having many things in my career. I would say almost every trial that I was able to be successful on and put a dangerous person behind bars and kept them off the street, I'm very proud of that. I'm also very proud of, as a judge, I started the first veterans treatment court in the state of Ohio. Veterans were returning from the war. They were self-medicating with alcohol. Later it became heroin when that epidemic really hit hard, and that population was really struggled with that. But being able to provide treatment to them and give them a second chance so that they could deal with the silent wounds of war, which is the trauma, the PTSD, and hopefully give them healthy ways to deal with that anxiety, their insomnia, their depression, and the trauma, besides using alcohol to numb it or drugs to numb it. We had a lot of great success. We helped a lot of people, and been able to support and had many partners, from the VA hospital to all the different veterans organizations under that umbrella, and brought them into the courtroom to help the veterans. So that court was the first municipal court veterans treatment program in the state of Ohio. It was modeled and used throughout the state, and so I was heavily involved in the veterans community. Another thing that I was very proud of was to be able to bring closure to two families on a case that was unsolved for 17 years, and that was a serial killer that came through Hamilton County, killed two young 13 and 14-year-old African-American boys with a rifle, shot him, sniped from a vantage point like a sniper would, and being able to bring justice for them so that they can continue to heal. And that happened in 1997. The crimes happened in 1980, excuse me. He was a white supremacist serial killer. He killed over 26 people, 2 here in Cincinnati. I went to death row and met with him face to face, and was able to get him to confess to those 2 homicides here and 4 other murders that he committed throughout our country, and be able to bring justice and have him held accountable for those other families.
Yeah.
2 of the murders, somebody else, an innocent person, was serving time for, and I was able to get that person out with that work. So we freed an innocent person and brought justice for the families of those 6 victims.
That's amazing. I'm sure that made them feel.
And now I'm very proud to be running this office to make sure that we are protecting the community. We're in an environment now, locally and really nationally, that these very soft on crime type policies that are going around the country, and that they're basically vilifying anything to, the criminal justice system, that we are basically defending victims and making victims' rights, making sure that they're being considered, and fighting for victims and for the safety of communities, particularly. And then the other thing I've done since I've been here that I'm very proud of is that I've always been a very big proponent of protecting and working for the most vulnerable in our community. So we know children, there's a lot of resources towards children, but what we often forget about is our seniors. So I started an elder justice unit this year, and we're teaching seniors how not to get scammed and taken advantage of and be deceived. They've worked all their lives and saved a lot of money and made great sacrifices, and then we've got bad people out there trying to take their money, and often they're successful in doing so. So we're going around the community, senior centers, nursing homes, etc., to teach the seniors how to protect themselves. And then we're working with banks and other institutions to make sure that they are protected. So I have special prosecutors assigned specifically to protect seniors. And then we want to make sure the other piece, not only is it financial, but abuse. So often seniors are abused or neglected, and we want to make sure that they have a voice and that people are brought to justice if they're hurting our senior population. So that's a new unit that's never been done before here in Hamilton County. So we're putting a big spotlight on seniors. So
I've never heard of that.
The Elder Justice Unit. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, that's all I have. Is that all you have for me?
I guess so.
Yeah, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank
All
you.
right, well, good luck with your project.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if there is something more, you can always come back.